So who actually built the pyramids? And I'm not talking about the Pharaoh who built it, I'm talking about the people who built it. And to understand this, you need to understand how Egyptian society worked at the time. I'm going to try my best to explain it as quick as possible, although it is a little bit complicated. So let's look at the structure of Egyptian society at the time. So the two bottom ones are the ones I want to concentrate on, which are the peasants and the slaves, especially the peasants. So the peasants were the farmers of ancient Egypt, and during farming season there was three particular periods. There was the flooding season, the planting season, and the harvest season. And bear in mind, a large proportion of the ancient Egyptian society were farmers, i.e. peasants. This left a large proportion of the population doing nothing during flooding season. So there was a mandatory public duty service that they had to conduct during the flooding season. This was known as the corvée and actually existed in Egypt until 1914, and the Suez Canal was kind of built using this system. Think of it as being conscripted to the army, but you don't have to fight. Instead, you have to participate in public service projects. This could include things like building roads, or temples, or in this case pyramids. And after completing your duties, you would return back to farming again. You also have to understand that the farms weren't owned by the peasants who farmed them. They were actually owned by the Pharaoh, and they just worked them. So this was kind of a type of tax, if you like. Although they did pay taxes as well in the form of grain from their work. And I know some people on here will argue and say the pyramids were built by slaves, but we have records that show the people that worked on the pyramids being quite well looked after in terms of food and accommodation. I personally believe that participation of slaves in these projects was in the quarries. The quarries were seen as the hardest work, and often we've seen records of people being sent there as a punishment. And if something was seen as being that bad that it was used as a punishment, then surely they wouldn't have used it for the average guy. So tell me what your thoughts are on this theory. Do you agree or do you disagree?